Carry on, treading softly as you go. Carry on, knowing all that you know. Carry on with the confidence of the stars above, for you were born in the radiance of love. Carry on in the joy of your path, never missing a moment to laugh. Hold the hand of a beloved, lean into the wind, and in each other find your shelter again. Carry on as your lives call you forth. Carry on fully knowing your worth. May you bring to this world what the world longs to know, and be brave in the living, then let go. entry of your heart. When you come to that place where you cannot see, walk on anyway into the sweet mystery. Carry on to thy spirit, be true. May the breath of sweet heaven breathe in you. Behold all the beauty in both shadows and light, and remember how loved you are tonight. Behold all the beauty in both shadows and light, and remember how loved you are tonight.
Carry on. Good morning. This is Bob Deen at the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown. I want to welcome you to our broadcast, to our celebration today. We are celebrating life as we do each week, and we are here to remind you that such is the nature of life, that all it asks, all it wants of you is the opportunity to appear. You are already that opportunity, and so it is. This is the time and the place where we spend a little time thinking about the bigger questions of life, thinking about who we are and how we fit into this larger idea of infinite, the larger idea of the corporate, the group, the collective, and how we as individuals fit and work in that. Because we know that life's only desire is to express itself and to be known as life as itself. Then we know that whoever you are that. Therefore, you are God's opportunity, Spirit's opportunity, the divine's opportunity to be something unique, something special, and something very wonderful. So we honor you. We celebrate you. Whoever you are, whatever your understanding of yourself in terms of social or economic or ethnic or any other kind of racial or otherwise, whatever your idea about yourself as a sexual being, all of those things we honor and respect according to your best idea of them. What we know about this great thing called life is that it unfolds for us and with us according to our best, most deeply held beliefs about it. So that is what we're about. This is what we're doing now, and it's what we continue to do on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So thank you for joining us. Hang on, we're going to bring you some good ideas. We're going to bring you some opportunities to change your thinking by changing how you're wanting and believing in any given moment. So to do that, we'll get started, or our next step in this process is to think about what we believe. And our Declaration of Principle is a document of who we are and who we are in terms of what we believe. So I'll read it. I invite you to join me if you so choose. I believe in one God, one absolute power and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all, and so it is. So we have people in our organization who have spent a lot of their lives, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy training and deepening in these principles and more. This is just an excerpt of the principles that we teach and believe. And these practitioners learn how to use these thoughts and ideas and learn how to train their minds in order to shift how they are experiencing life, what occurs for them, how they deal with it, what happens and the quality of their life, the joy, the freedom, the goodness, the prosperity, the health, the love that moves through them. So in that training, they're also licensed those who choose to do this for other people because they learn how to do it for themselves, and then they demonstrate that they can also do it for other people in terms of working with other people and coming to new ideas and new ways of being. So with that in mind, I bring you to the idea that today we have sharing a practitioner who is a longtime friend and longtime practitioner, Judy Aehle. She will be with you now to share some thoughts, some ideas, and a powerful, powerful affirmative prayer of healing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Well, again, welcome everybody. We're so glad that you are joining us today to be a part of our celebration of life at Spiritual Living Center Midtown. You know, this Sunday we actually wrap up the month of July. Wow. Where did July go? Anyway, the theme of this month has been pulled by vision. And today's topic is stayed, S-T-A-Y-E-D, stayed. We can ask ourselves the question, what is our mind stayed upon? What do we stay focused on? The message for today says that what we stay focused on demonstrates and outpictures in our life. This is one of the basic ideas of our spiritual belief here. It is suggesting that for the best life that we can have, our minds would be best if they were stayed on spirit or stayed on God. The spirit of life is all around us. It moves through us. It permeates everything. And today's affirmation is that divine spirit is powerfully flowing as me. You know, this reminds me of a quote that has always helped me from Emmett Fox. And the quote is that in the midst of anything that is going on, don't think about the problem, think about God. So if we are truly living lives that are pulled by vision of something greater for us and for our world, keeping our minds stayed on spirit seems to me to be an essential tool. But how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we keep our mind on spirit when our bodies might be sick, or there's no money coming in, or we might feel lonely and isolated? Whatever it is, for me, how do I keep my mind stayed on God? It has to do with my belief and my faith and my expectation. Do I have a strong faith and belief in knowing that I am never separated from this presence of good? This presence that truly only wants the very best for me? Can I let go of any idea of the need to suffer or struggle and instead rest in the knowing that this presence that is around me and through me is everything, and it is a power for good, and it is operating in my life? The will of spirit for me is only good. So I can wrap my head around that and know that all is truly well and fine and good at the deepest spiritual level in my heart, that the expression of this will be a life that is filled with abundance, love, health, never-ending creative intelligence and goodness. So keep your mind stayed on spirit. Don't think about whatever the problem is. Think instead about God and the possibilities there. This benevolent power that wants to express through us as good in the world. We surrender to this goodness. We know that this power only wants the very best for us, and so we let it flow through us. We keep our minds stayed on God. And, I'll just say that, we all have our challenges. I mean, I have mine and we all have ours. And that in the midst of it, to turn our minds back to the real truth and to the knowledge that we are never separated from this presence, that it is always flowing through us, that this is, to me, one of the essential truths of living a life where God outpictures and expresses through us in fuller and greater ways. All right. So with those ideas, I want to lead us this morning in an affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment. And I'm going to do this in the first person. And I would invite you to accept it for yourself today. So just allow yourself to be comfortable and relaxed wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and let your mind become fully present right here and right now, and just allow whatever else you've been thinking about or worried about or wondering about, just let's let all of that stuff just kind of drift away, and instead let us know this. This is what I know to be my truth, and I invite you to accept it for yourself. I know that there is one power, there is this oneness of life, this wholeness, this perfection, this goodness, this love, this divine power that is everywhere present, that is expressing through all of life, everywhere in the world outside of myself, as I look at the world around me, as I look at nature, as I look at the beauty of the earth and the flowers and the beautiful trees and the animals and the birds, that this is God expressing. And as I see that in the other people that I interact, the beauty and the harmony that I see in the world. And I also know that this spirit resides in me at the heart of who I am. Is this wholeness? Is this perfection? Is this goodness? And as I sink into that knowing, I become aware of this presence that is with me always. It guides and directs me. I tune into its wholeness, into its love, into its divine intelligence. It is my very nature. And as I tune into its guidance, it leads me into perfect living, into perfect decisions, into a perfection that is just absolutely profound, into a life that is my greatest vision of myself, into a life that is absolute, divine, vibrant health, knowing that this is my natural state of being, knowing that this is God's will for me. God's will for me, we hear about that so much, but God's will for all of us, for me, is absolute wonderful living. It's the good that pours down through us and that we allow to flow into our life. I know for myself absolute fabulous abundance that this abundance of God expresses in my life in all ways, in ways of abundant love, abundant health, abundant ideas and creativity, opulence, plenty of money to live well and to give back to the world that which I desire to give back. I know that His presence is a perfection at the deepest level in my heart, as this love, as this abundance, as this infinite creative way of being. So, as I know all these things about myself, I just take a moment to remember that I can never be separated from this presence and from this power, that this power is a power of oneness and of good. So it is never separated from itself. There's not a power for good and a power for evil. So I turn away from any notion of that. I turn away from any idea that this presence and this power desires anything but the best for me. And instead, I know and I sink into this knowing that the perfection of peace, of love, of health, of abundance, of perfect opportunity, and perfect living and perfect living a life that is meaningful and perfect and that fits me absolutely, that is tailor-made for me to be the best of who I can be, so that I can be a perfect outpicturing of spirit and God in this world. So I'm so grateful for knowing this. I'm grateful for paying attention to this presence in my life, moment by moment, in the small things, in the big things, that all are of equal weight. There is no big and there is no small in this presence, in this life that we live, in this oneness that we experience. So it is this great Thanksgiving that I release these words with great faith and with expectation, knowing that as I believe these ideas and know these things on the inside, that they outpicture in my life, in my world, as a great life. So it is with great thanksgiving that I release these words now, knowing that they are so, and so it is. All right. Well, we will go to our next, our musical selection, and I'm sure it'll be wonderful.
Walls can't hold us in. Fear can't keep us down. Love will rise again. Yeah, it's rising right now. We shall overcome. Every time I think it's gonna take much longer, we shall overcome. Every time I question, am I getting stronger? We have just begun. Gonna make a change, we gotta push much farther. We shall overcome. 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 Young Gandhi couldn't fathom how to deal with himself when he was thrown off the train and the pain that he felt. Mrs. Parks disrespected, dragged into jail because of the color of her skin, organs, tissues, and cells. One day, a young girl was shot on a bus by a man, a terrorist, part of the Taliban. He said, on this land, you have no right to stand for what you believe in. Girls have no chance here. Well, now, that's just the story of three souls who shook our planet after being down on their knees. And it's not gonna stop. Those seeds have now become trees, and as human beings, we'll keep on digging till we find peace. Yeah, the cynics always say that nothing ever changes. The human nature's bound to stay the same. But it couldn't be more plain that violence never pays, injustice never stays. It's bound to fade away. What if history awaits? What if today's the day? So let's all lead the way. We shall overcome. Every time I think it's gonna take much longer, we shall overcome. Every time I question, am I getting stronger? We have just begun. Gonna make a change, we gotta push much farther. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Come on now. Longer. We shall overcome. Every time I question, am I getting stronger? We shall overcome. Make a change, we gotta push much farther. 'Cause I'm feeling it deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Here we go. Woo! I knew it. God had a plan for us to do it. To hit rock bottom before we rise and continue. To first learn greed before we learn to be human. To do wrong deeds before we learn to spread beauty. There's always a plan, and now it's time to take a stand for the right of the planet, every woman and man. We ain't gonna stop, only growing our demands for all beings to feel peace in every heart and land. Thank you, Lord, for the strength and the courage to bring us together and keep our souls nourished. These tough times will only drown in our chorus, cause we all believe that the truth is before us. We shall overcome this pain. We shall overcome this day. We pray for love to lead the way. We shall overcome some. We pray for love to lead the way.
Wow. I had forgotten the impact that song and that particular version of it has on me every time I hear it. Gives me great hope. Makes me happy. Makes me want to sing. Well, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on. And I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on. Blank. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. That song, the other songs in my head, I can't sing this one. Oh, well, you get the gist. You get the idea. So when you wake up in the morning, what's important is what your mind is stayed on. When I first heard that song, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. And it meant a lot to me at the time. And then in the 1960s, from a prison in Alabama, a minister rewrote or just changed one word to, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. And it began to be sung in the prison and in freedom rider buses and in groups all over the South, all over the country. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So my question to you is, what word, what thought, what idea is your mind stayed on? Is it stayed on those things you want to see more of? Those things you want to see happening in your life and in the world? Or is it stayed on all those things you hope won't happen? And maybe if you think about them enough, or worry about them enough, figure out what's wrong with everything enough that it'll prevent it. I used to have my alarm clock in the morning set so that when my phone would wake me up, it would also give me the weather, because I like to know what the weather is. I'm a bit addicted to the weather reports. Not because I can't look out the window, but just because I'm nosy about what is expected in the day. But it also then would give me the headlines of the day. First thing in the morning, half awake, trying to get waked up, and I'm listening to all the horrible things that people have done to each other. And it's the version of the news based on my earlier likes, preferences, things I've clicked on, the things that will scare me enough to get my attention, or the things that will wake me up enough to go, oh dear, I want to know more about that, or oh my gosh, I don't want to hear any more about that. But they will somehow get a reaction out of me. And I figured out shortly, it didn't take long, that isn't how I want to wake up in the mornings. I don't want to wake up with my mind stayed on the troubles of the world. There's enough of that. And I'll do enough of that anyway during the day. I want to wake up with my mind stayed on Spirit, which is another version of that song that's been sung in New Thought centers and churches all over the country, all over the world for that matter, in different versions. Why? Why? What is it about what we stay our minds on, what we dwell on is another way to think about it, what your mind dwells upon that is so important? Well, because what your mind dwells on is what we begin to experience and see over and over and more of. It's a kind of feedback loop. You know, feedback loops are really interesting. A few years ago, I decided I wanted an Oldsmobile. The smaller one, just had it in, I just wanted it. So I started thinking about what kind do I want, what color, what model, what year, all of those things. And was thinking also when I first started that process, I rarely see one on the road that I recognize. Within days, every time I drove anywhere, there was an Oldsmobile. Of course, now you won't find them, but in those days. But whatever car you start thinking about you want to buy, or whatever thing you feel like you want to acquire, if you think about it much, it starts showing up. And we all take that as kind of automatic, and we laugh about it. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, I was thinking about buying a Toyota, and there it is. Everywhere I look is Toyotas, Toyotas, Toyotas. That's the feedback loop where Toyotas were always around. Oldsmobiles were always around. But when I started thinking about it and focusing my mind on it, my mind started paying attention to them in a way it had not before. And maybe more showed up, but I suspect they were there all along. That's why people say so often, that your next beloved is standing at your elbow. You're surrounded by beloved people. But when we stay our mind on it, when we put our mind on it, and we start dwelling our mind on it, we start to see what's actually there. We all know from perception studies and perception examples that are done with the trick pictures where what do you see, the old lady or the young girl? All of those kinds of things are about our perception is driven and guided and informed by our belief and by our thoughts and by our thinking. So what we dwell on becomes very important for us. Those feedback loops just keep coming around and coming around and coming around. How and why is that? Well, the why is simple. Because you are not an individual disconnected and separated in some kind of world of otherness. You're an individual who's part of a connected unit with a flow of information and energy that is connected to everything and everyone else. So that when you think about something, when you focus your mind on something, it taps into all of that stuff that's out there and is already seen and known. You are an energy flow for whatever the larger consciousness is all about, for whatever is available and available to you, which is pretty cool. So you are an energy flow. Judy talked about this. You're an energy flow. You're a life flow of good. You're a life flow of power. You're a life flow of love, peace, prosperity, health. All of those things are flowing through you from your thinking. And the Psalm says you're as free as your thought. You never deal with conditions. You deal with thought. Think about it. Is there anything that's happened in your life that you deal with in any way other than thought to begin with? What you choose to do, what action you may choose to take, how you react or act still comes through your thought. So when you choose what to focus your thoughts on, it begins to develop and to show up in very powerful and supportive ways. Feedback loops keep coming back to you and saying again and again. When I was a young man and learning to drive, my stepfather was a truck driver and a wonderful, kind, patient man. I truly loved him. And he was asking me one day as I was doing my early driving and practicing, We were driving at night, and a car came toward us with bright lights on, and pretty well blinded me and both of us. And he asked me, "Where do you look whenever the blinding car light comes?" And I said, "Well, I look in the ditch because the light hurts my eyes, so I look away." And he said, "Don't do that. Instead, look just to the right, your right, of those headlights. Of course, unless you're in England or somewhere else, and then you look to the left. But look to the right. Look, because where you look is where your vehicle will go. If you look in the ditch, you may run off the road trying to avoid the bright lights. But if you look just to the right of those lights, you're going to zoom right by it. And your eyes will adjust, and you'll go on and be okay." Those feedback loops are so much a part of our realness of what and who we are. It's pretty amazing. See, in every situation in your life, everything that comes up, everything that shows up is an opportunity for you to be the direct flow of that good that you desire into that situation. The situation itself may be neither good nor bad, although we may call it such. If it's a challenge, if it's an illness, if it's a lack of prosperity, all of those things. But we don't work against those things. We work allowing our awareness of what else is possible to flood our innards and to flood our consciousness, and to flood ourselves, so that we can bring about something different. We can actually create something different, something better, something more. One of my favorite little stories from our teaching is the idea, the story of the little fish who decided to leave school because he was bored. He was fed up with it. Nobody else here has ever had that experience, right? And he left school and he went off to search for water. Went everywhere, swam the 7 seas looking for water. And of course, with time and years and recognition, he discovered that he had been in the water all of the time. And that's what is so true with this business of life and the good that we seek. The good that we seek, we are already immersed in. Because it's always related to love or freedom or peace or joy or one of those things. And it's already inside of us trying to flow through us. We don't have to do anything to go get it or to make it happen. We just have to recognize it and choose to stay our mind upon it. Woke up this morning, my mind stayed on peace. My mind stayed on freedom. Ernest Holmes says it this way: we are in the water, already in the water of infinite life. And just as the fish is in the ocean, the spirit of life is all around us. It flows through us. It permeates everything. That's from his book, This Thing Called Life. So we don't have to do anything to make this happen. It is the very essence and nature of who we are and how we operate. There is something in you that already knows all of this. I am simply here to remind you. I sometimes refer to myself as a Post-it notes minister. I simply hit the Post-it notes up to remind you of who you are and what's true and what's real. See, there's so much power in you. In your desires and what you wish you could express and what you do express. Think about what it is that really drives and pulls you towards something greater. And instead of dwelling on what's holding you back or what's missing or what's not letting it happen, dwell on it happening and being there. Back in Philadelphia, our center had an office where we actually worked all the time and stuff. And that was before any of this, the way we're doing life now. And almost any time someone was in between jobs and looking for something, I would suggest just come in, do some work, hang out at the office where you can be flooded with the idea of good, productive, gift-giving kinds of work. The kind of work that allows you to give your gifts. Come and find something related to that you can do in the office for the organization. Not because the organization needs it, but simply because it's your opportunity to get that flow going, to keep your mind focused on what you're giving, what you're putting forward. And inevitably, people would find a job within weeks of doing that. We never got some of those projects done because people got their jobs and went off and left. But it's okay. We were just fine anyway. It's that flow. It's that focus that makes such a difference. See, there's something in you that knows. Ernest Holmes says it this way. There is at your center. It is your nature. There is a center in you that already knows. Develop the consciousness that flows from this center, for it is the secret place of the Most High within you. So you don't have to create this for yourself. You already have it. We just need to open up and recognize it, to be still and allow that to happen, to hear and to feel and to know what really is ours to do and how we bring that forward into the world, into our world. So I have a final question for you. What if you knew that the spirit within you, the love within you, or whatever other word, if spirit creates, stirs up all kinds of ideas of separation or old religions or something else, just find another word. What is it that if you knew the love within you, flowing through you, could always succeed and never fail? What is it you would do? What is it you would become? What is it you would think about? What is it you would do that perhaps you haven't done yet? Or what is it you would do that's the same as what you've already done and you want it to simply grow and be different? Because there's a part of you, there's that natural human nature within you that is God nature as well, that is simply waiting to be called on. It's flowing through you like the water that we are all made of. It's kind of interesting. We are the result of about, 20 billion years of evolution or more. You individually, you, the guy, girl, woman, person, child listening to this, you are the result. You have within you the result of billions of years of evolution. You're part of a flow of water that has carried on for eons, from mother to child. As soon as life crawled out of the ocean and figured out in its physicality how to take water with us, it did. We humans spend the first, 9 months or so of our lives submerged in water until our bodies, our physicality learns how to contain the water and keep the water and process the water enough and forms enough structure that we can separate and go live in the air. And yet we are connected through the water that we continue to drink. So physically we're connected all over. Why is it so difficult to imagine ourselves spiritually, emotionally, energetically connected as well? Because we are. And that energetic connection, that consciousness connection that is emulated in our physical connections in life, in water, that connection is what guarantees that the love within you, the spirit within you, the power within you cannot fail. So I woke up this morning with my mind fixed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind fixed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my heart fixed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You're wonderful. So am I. So it is. Thank you. And now we'll hear from Judy again as she talks about the prosperity and supporting of our center.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bob, for that fabulous talk. That was so inspiring. We already have what we need. It's here. It's all. And this is our time that we can have the opportunity to give back to CSL Midtown if we so desire. So think about where you receive your spiritual nourishment, where you receive your spiritual good. And if you are so moved, we invite you to support our center in a way that feels good for you. And we appreciate all the support that we receive. We are so grateful. Our center is a prosperous center. We are doing very well financially, and I just wanted to say that we are so grateful for that. So there, you can give through our website, cslmidtown.org. The link is there. And if everyone would just say the affirmation for prosperity with me, with feeling. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow. And all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it is. All right. I think we have some announcements now. I didn't know if there was a video, but I'll just say, since this is up here, that next Sunday we have a guest speaker, one that is known well to us and loved and appreciated. So we look forward to hearing from Reverend Cynthia McCarthy. She's back, and the theme for August is A Pause for Guidance. So we look forward to hearing from her next Sunday. So I hope you will join us for that.
And it's time for everybody's favorite fun game, announcements. Hey, stay in touch with the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown through our newsletter. Get one email a week, letting you stay informed. And please subscribe when visiting YouTube to our YouTube channel. Those subscriptions go a long, long way. And while you're on your social media, why not give us a like and a share on Facebook? Let your friends know what we're doing. Invite them to come watch our services with you. And join us on our Zoom room throughout the week. We offer a variety of Zoom interaction opportunities each and every week here as part of the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. 10 a.m. Sunday is our discussion group around the 365 Science of Mind book. Every Sunday, 12 noon Sundays, our community fellowship immediately following our Sunday services, and 12 noon on Tuesday, our online empowerment opportunity. The access information remains the same for all of our Zoom experiences. If you need access, please visit cslmidtown.org and you'll find access information on our website. Join us on any of our Zoom opportunities throughout the week. And while you're with us, be sure to connect with one of our professional practitioners. These are folks that are highly trained to support you along your spiritual journey. You can learn more on our website about our professional practitioners. Just head over to cslmidtown.org, click on About and Practitioners. Then you'll see their bios and a way to reach them and learn a little bit more about each of them. And please send us your prayer requests. Click on the Home tab and look for Affirmative Treatment Prayer Requests. Fill out the form, send it off, and get our professional practitioners praying for you each and every day. All right.
And so now we close with our affirmation of life. I invite you to read along, read out loud if you'd like. Stand up and affirm it in your whole self. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this knowing and this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is. See you next week.